team is biking hard, gearing up for nationals.
CU and CSU facing off in the Rocky Mountain Showdown.
And the Rams and the Buffs are having it out on the diamond. It's all coming up next on Sports Mag.
Welcome to CU Sports Mag, sitting alongside Rose Heafy. I'm Andrew Tomasini, and spring is in the air, Rose, and I think it's baseball season.
Oh, definitely. CU's club baseball team faced the CSU Rams in a doubleheader at Scott Carpenter Field. After a scoreless first inning, Brennan Merrick fired things up for the Buffs with a double to left center to get an offensive rally started. Kyle Quinn would then follow with an RBI single to right center to drive in the Buffs' second run. And it wasn't just the bats that were working as CU's defense continues to get it done with a nice inning-ending double play. Fast forward to the 6th inning, and Tucker Hinchcliffe widens the gap with a key 2-run homer, making the score 4-2. He takes a nice victory lap around the bases, so there he goes. But the Buffs would make things interesting when fielding a sacrifice fly to left field as the CSU Rams capitalized on a relay error and scored. But the Buffs made sure to buckle down, and they held on for the win as they beat the Rams 4-3. Going into the second game of the doubleheader, the Buffs were optimistic, and they looked to keep up the same intensity. However, the Rams had a different plan in mind. CU pitcher Connor Vigilik got lit up by the CSU lineup and allowed 7 runs in the first inning alone. Among the hits were a couple RBI doubles as well as a home run. Vigilik would give up only one more run after the first inning. But the Buffs spirits were not down, and they were hungry for the win, and they looked to spark some offensive energy. They got some runs late in the game, but in the end, they failed to recover from the 7-run deficit and lost 8-3. We caught up with assistant captain Brandon Barron after the game.
The keys to the victory in the first game was no errors. Yeah, our bats didn't really show up today, but our defense did, and DeGraff showed up on the mound, shoved for 7 innings long, and we came out with the W. You know, Connor got lit up in the first a little bit, but we held him to 8 runs, and we know our offense is better than that. We can produce more, especially against the pitcher that we saw. So we're going to go to the batting cages this week and figure it out and just move on from here. I'm excited to get our lineup going again. Yeah, we have a lot of guys who can really bang the ball around on this team, and we're not playing to our true potential yet. And I'm really excited to see what this team can do when we can. If we get hot at the right time and carry it into the postseason, we can really do some damage.
Thanks to his 7-inning 2-hit performance against Colorado State, starting pitcher Matt DeGraff is Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
Normally, 100% of the time, my best pitch, my 2-strike pitch is a slider, just because it's always been my best pitch. We managed to get by, though, with just changing speeds and locating pitches. 2-seam fastball and a cut fastball. So, one fastball that tails, one fastball that cuts. And I think we got about 15 ground ball outs today, so that was clutch. Matt DeGraff, CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
CU women's golfer Emily Talley wrapped up a stellar month by taking home the Big 12 Golfer of the Month award for March. Sophomore started the month with an 11th place finish at the Julie Inkster Spartan Invitational, then hit her groove, no pun intended, in the last week of March. She carded a tie for 6th and the Trotta Classic on Tuesday, then finished 3rd at the Mountain View Collegiate on the same Saturday. She's the 4th ever Buff to receive the honor. Talley and the rest of the Buffs head to Bloomington, Indiana for their final match before the Big 12 Championship in 2 weeks.
Tuesday, the CU men's golf team tied for 4th with Oklahoma at the Wyoming Cowboy Classic. Finishing first was Cal State Northridge, followed by San Diego and Western Carolina. With this success, the Buffs posted their second-best finish of the season. Sebastian Heisel led the charge, tying for 4th, and ended the season with his best finish in a major golf tournament in his career. The Buffs next will be roaming south on April 17th through the 18th to compete at the Texas Aggie Invitational.
Looking to capture its second straight victory in the Rocky Mountain Showdown, the Colorado lacrosse team headed to Dick's Sporting Goods Park to take on the rival Rams of CSU. Early action here, CU is going to try to win the faceoff, and they do. But digging at the ground ball, Hap Knowles long stick midi success. Mid-man Mike Britt here loses the edge. Grayson Knowles take advantage and one of his two. QJ Streeton for CSU avoids the truck that is Ryan Burt. 5-hole scores. Refusing to quit. Behind the cage, Josh Albrecht gets a little gift here from the goaltender and scores. Marty Taffet, paging Marty Taffet, wrap check ball down. But goals. CU is struggling. A sign of life here potentially. Hap Knowles fires a laser and catches some mesh. More offensive magic. Wrong team though. Cooper Kehoe working with ease and scores. Possibly a spectacular highlight here. Lilbrun spins off his defender, cradles left hand. Isalichu score. Look again. Getting hacked all the way through his progression and finishes strong. But story of the evening, CSU picking CU apart. Austin Fisher finds a cutting Parker Larson and scores. Rams driving the bus, and Larson pours salt on the wounds, buries it for CSU, rolling 13-6. And they take this year's Rocky Mountain Showdown in Dick's Sporting Goods Park and beat CU.
When we return, the double team desk will analyze the upcoming spring football game.
And we'll check in with the triathlon team as they get ready for nationals.
The spring football game, which is the culminating event of the spring practice, will be Saturday, April 10th at 1:30 at Folsom Field as your Colorado Buffaloes take on themselves in an intra-squad scrimmage. This year, the spring game is a little different than in the past. Instead of the first team versus second team format, team captains will draft their own players to face off against each other. Coach Dan Hawkins hopes that the new format will spark the players' intensity and competitive instincts. No matter the outcome of the game, the players are anxious to show that they have what they have learned this spring. So now we're going to head over to the double team desk, and they're going to analyze that spring football game. Take it away, Matt and Morgan.
Welcome to this week's edition of Double Team. I'm Matt Hanlon, along with my colleague Morgan Preslon, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that spring game that's this Saturday and what's different about this year's spring game.
Right. I understand that they're doing the formatting differently of choosing teams. Could you tell us how they're going to do it this year?
Yeah, usually the Buffaloes and Dan Hawkins like to go with, running a first team defense against, the second team offense, or the first team offense against the second team defense. This year it's going to be a little different. We're going to be having two coordinators from each, two coordinators for the Buffaloes coaching two different teams. Now each team is going to have 4 captains respectively for each team, the black and the gold teams. Now there's going to be two defensive captains and 2 offensive captains, and it's really neat because the Buffaloes, they get to say Tyler Hansen drafts, Tony Clemens wide receiver. Then the other team gets the comparison, the second guy on the depth chart. So it's kind of it's a level playing ground, and they get to even out the games and really get the fans into it. And also the players can kind of find some continuity with guys that they usually wouldn't play with. So it brings the team together as a whole. Now, I want to talk about the gold team captains are going to be Tyler Hansen, B.J. Beatty, linebacker, Keenan Stevens, and Jaleel Brown, some of those veterans that you saw last year. Now the black teams are going to be captains are going to be Cody Hawkins, Mike Iddis, Michael Sapili, and Jimmy Smith. Now 10-minute quarters, and there's going to be halftime, of course, so they can rest and get back on the field. The gold team will be coached by running back coach Darian Hagan, and the black team will be coached by O-line coach Denver Johnson.
Okay. Well, aside from those players, are there any that you're expecting that are going to make their debut this spring, foreshadowing a good, promising season in fall? Yeah,
there's 4 guys that are really standing out. There's different reasons why they didn't play. Some are freshmen, some transferred, some were injured. And, there's Tony Clemens, Nick Casa, corner Parker Orms, and Clark Evans. Now, Tony Clemens he was a Michigan receiver, played up there for the Big Blue, came down here, transferred, had to sit out the year. He's a big guy. He's fast. He can go up there and be that possession receiver and that downfield threat the Buffaloes usually didn't have. So, either Tyler Hansen or Cody Hawkins, whoever is behind center, can look for him, for those jump balls or for the deep pass and be kind of, a guy that they can always count on. He's very fast, and the coaches have been talking about him all season, all off season, and really expect some big things out of this guy, both in the spring game and in the season. And another guy is Parker Orms. He's a freshman. Okay. He's a safety cornerback mix. He's been getting PT at both sides. and he's been getting a lot of, he's been stepping up on the defensive side for the Buffaloes this offseason. The scrimmages that they've had so far, he's been really productive, and the defensive coaches had nothing but good things to say about him. And so hopefully he can fill the gaps left by some of the seniors that left, and he can really fill the gap. And then also there's going to be Clark Evans. He was the quarterback that the Buffaloes recruited, but then he's actually moving to tight end.
Okay.
So yeah, he's going to have to switch up a little different. He's going to have to switch things up and learn how to block and do all that stuff. So look for him. And also Nick Kaza, of course, he was injured, Broomfield guy, local guy, and he's highly touted out of high school. So he's just trying to get back into game speed and his playing speed. So hopefully he can be an impact player on the coming spring game.
Yeah, as well as Scotty McKnight. I heard he's rehabilitating his leg injury.
Yeah, speaking of injuries, you got 4 guys that are key guys that are going to be out. Scotty McKnight is injured. Ryan Miller, Rodney Stewart, and Brian Lockridge will be hurt, so they won't be there for the game.
All right, that's all we have for this edition of Sports Mag. Check out this Saturday, the spring CU Buffalo game at Folsom Stadium. I'm Morgan Preston alongside Matt Hanlon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Early word is coming out about the football season ticket renewals for next season, and the word does not sound good. Mike Bohn has said that the athletic department has only heard back from 56% of last season's ticket holders. This number is down from last year, when the department had heard from 72% of ticket holders at this point in the year. Despite a home schedule that includes Georgia, Hawaii, and Texas Tech, some season ticket holders said they will not renew until they see improvement from the program or a coaching change is made.
On August 13, 2010, Burdett Hallerson will be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame, along with his teammates from the 1960 United States Olympic team. His team brought home the gold medal from Rome by beating Brazil 90-63. The 1960 team is still considered one of the best U.S. Olympic basketball teams, alongside the 1992 squad, the Dream Team. Hallerson, a 6'7" Minnesota native, still holds CU records for most rebounds in a half with 21, most in a game with 31, and most in a season with 646. He averaged 15 points and over 9 rebounds over the course of his career at Colorado. Hallerson later went on to have a successful career in the National Industrial Basketball League with the Phillips 66ers. The search to replace Kathy McConnell Miller is centering on a homegrown candidate. Former CU player Linda Lapp met with university officials on Tuesday to discuss the women's basketball coaching job. Lapp has spent the last 3 seasons as head coach at Division II Metro State in Denver, compiling a 50-36 record. She spent her playing days at CU, suiting up for the Buffs from 1998 to 2003, and receiving all Big 12 honorable mention honors twice. While nothing is finalized yet, Athletic Director Mike Bohn has said that he would like to have a coach in place by the time signing period for recruits begins on April 14th.
Have you ever tried to swim, bike, run, all in one race? This week, Karen McConey took a look at the CU Triathlon Club, a team that performs this feat with championship results.
The University of Colorado Triathlon team, one of the most successful club teams on campus, trains at high intensity in 3 areas at once. Triathlon, which combines swimming, biking, and running, is not an easy sport to master.
A week of workouts is usually around 20 to 25 hours of training with all different types of sessions, swimming, biking, running, strength training.
The team is home to Ironmen and beginners alike. When an individual sport like triathlon is made into a team, the advantage is that each athlete challenges another to improve.
And the one thing about this team, I think, is that they're very unselfish, and you get a lot of veterans helping out the new people, and no one ever feels left out or slower than the faster people or any different. Everybody feels the same, and I think that's just a tribute to the way the kids treat everybody, and that's equally, and it's just a great group of kids to be around.
These athletes have been training as a team since September, and their work is soon to pay off. After winning the men's and women's regional championship at Lake Havasu in March, they are looking forward to collegiate national championships coming up next Saturday in Lubbock, Texas.
In terms of nationals, it's going to be a tough race. It's a tough course. The water's cold. It's windy. It's not optimal conditions. It may be a high of 60 or maybe a high of 80 degrees. So I think that we'll be the best prepared we can because we train in the cold, we train in the hills, and just living in Boulder definitely gives you an advantage to racing at sea level.
The team's top athletes owe their success to hard training, but also to the support of the team.
I really cannot imagine doing triathlon without my teammates. They mean everything to me, and if I do well at nationals, if I have any performance that I have, I really delegate it to my team, at least half of it. Like with my teammates, all the support that I get from my coach, and yeah, the support it means everything to me.
The triathlon team is definitely one of the hardest working clubs on CU's campus. We'll see how they do when they head to nationals next Saturday. I'm Karen McConey, CU Sports Mag.
Thank you, Karen. With CU's annual spring football game just around the corner, fans are getting excited to see Ralphie charge down Folsom Field. Again, which brings us to our trivia question. How fast can Ralphie run? Think it over and we'll have the answer shortly for you as you look at it on the screen right now.
After the break, David Starcer catches up with record-breaking CU tennis player Monica Maluski. All-time leader is quite an achievement, but getting a chance to break a record is not something many athletes get to do. Sports Mag's David Starcer found one such record breaker right here at CU.
Inside the Millennium Harvest House's tennis bubble, the CU women's tennis team closed out their first Big 12 victory over Missouri on Saturday. But for senior and #1 singles player Monica Maluski, it was just another day at the office. After her and her partner won in straight sets in their doubles match, Maluski climbed out of a one-set deficit for the 10th time in her career to prevail in 3 sets. But watching her body language, one might have guessed the opposite result.
I'm usually pretty negative with myself, which is weird, and I just want to stay, I don't want to get too excited because I don't want to jinx myself or something.
While there was no jinx in effect on this day, Maluski's tennis career almost ended prematurely. A foot injury forced her to miss all of last spring, but she was able to redshirt and finish her tenure at CU on her own terms.
It really put things in perspective last year when I got hurt, when I couldn't play, because I was always like, okay, tennis is just something I've been doing forever, but when I got hurt, I was kind of like, well, shoot, I really do want to compete, and I really do want to be out there.
The CU tennis team has had to endure a very up and down season this year, going from the high of winning 7 of their first 10 matches to the low of losing 5 straight, as well as top doubles player Camilla Balassi to injury. However, there's been one constant on the team this year, and that's the play of Maluski.
She's developed as a player, and so she's won a lot of matches. She came in as a good player, and she'll finish as a good player. We're such a small group that we don't have captains or anything, so it is one of those things where it's like at any given moment, any one person can step up and be a leader.
With the wins, Maluski climbed into a tie for doubles and combined match wins in CU history. But despite the love she gets from her supporters, Maluski remains humble.
It's really cool. I actually didn't know exactly which records. I'm trying not to pay attention to that right now. I'm trying to just finish the season and end on a good note.
Which means leaving Boulder after 5 years will be that much more bittersweet.
It's been a really great experience. I'm gonna miss it so much.
At least she gets to go out on top. David Starcer, CU Sports Mag.
This weekend, the CU tennis team will look to improve upon its 4-2 home record, hosting a pair of matches this weekend in Boulder. CU will play K-State on Friday at 2 p.m. and Kansas on Sunday at 11. The 2 home matches may end up taking a backseat to senior Monica Maluski, as she'll try to set 2 new school records with a victory in either the doubles or the singles match. Maluski will become the all-time leader in both combined singles and doubles victory at the University of Colorado. With a weekend sweep, Colorado can pull to within 1 game of 500 mark in Big 12 play and 2 games above on the season.
If you enjoyed this year's NCAA basketball tournament, you would be surprised to learn that it could be drastically different as soon as next year. The NCAA is strongly exploring plans to expand the tourney, and Vice President Greg Shaheen says 96 teams would be the best fit for an expanded tournament. The new format could be in place as soon as next year, because the NCAA holds a mutual opt-out agreement of their TV contract with CBS. A bigger tournament would mean more money and a new contract for the NCAA and its partners. Colorado head coach Jeff Vizelic said he plans to have the bus dancing next spring, regardless of the tourney's size.
The track and field team headed north this week for the Tom Bennick Invitational at Nottingham Field in Greeley, Colorado. Freshman Sally Page threw for second place in the javelin with a mark of 119 feet and 4 inches. Senior China McCall led CU top spot in the shot put, competing and taking third place with a distance of 41 feet 7 inches. Quentin Dodson, Jeremy Dodson, and Kyle McIntosh and Matthew Carthren ran for the victory in the 4x100 relay, crossing the finish line in just under 42 seconds. The team will be competing on home turf at the Potts Field this weekend at the CU Invitational.
All right, when we come back, we'll have that trivia answer for you.
Yeah, and we'll check in with Audie Streetman as she looks at the weekend ahead and the weather. You're on. And because varsity sports hold such a prominent role in CU athletics, other smaller teams fall under the radar. But news team's Natalie Deeden found out one club volleyball team that you should start following.
CU volleyball has always been a women's sport, or at least it seems that way because of their talent and large fan base. But little do many know that another team on campus with equal talent is muscling its way into the game. However, this team has a little more testosterone and a lot less spandex.
While they both very much look the same to watch, when you evaluate it statistically and from a coaching standpoint, and especially in matches, they're very different games.
The CU men's club volleyball team has been competing in national and local tournaments for over 10 years. Last year, their successes jumped to new heights when they entered the national championships ranked 27th, but finished tied for 5th in the nation.
While this team can bump, set, and spike like any other, it's their team chemistry that helps them stand out both nationally and locally here at CU.
The relationships that these boys have made are evident both on and off the court. Whether it's showing support during practice or spending time together on weekends, these athletes have grown together both as a team and as individuals.
It's just, fun being with the guys, being with a group of friends, being yourself around them and just growing as, a part of the team and just as a person in life.
While they all play with a serious and competitive attitude, they also manage to include a little fun into their time together.
Our team's a bunch of pranksters, a bunch of jokesters with each other, and the weekends definitely help. Boulder's a great place for weekends, and I think we all can work pretty well together off the court.
The team's camaraderie has even caught Avery's attention.
The more they hang out, the better they are as friends off the court, the easier it is for them to work together on the court.
Senior Marty O'Connor says that this bond makes all the difference.
Because there's that level of comfort, like we can communicate at a level, that it's friendly, and it's also, it moves us forward when we need to.
While the men might not draw the crowds like the women do, it's their team chemistry, talent, and love for the game that makes them stand out in CU sports. Natalie Deeden, CU Sports Mag.
CU men's basketball coach Jeff Bizdelic will head off the court and into Louisville Middle School this Monday. For the 4th year in a row, CU Athletics teamed up with Quest and FSN Rocky Mountain to award one lucky middle school student $3,500 for having a winning attitude. Students submitted stories explaining how they make a difference in their communities. Louisville 8th grader Dana Back is the grand prize winner of this year's contest for volunteering as a ski instructor with Eldora's Special Recreation Program. Louisville Middle School will host a pep rally this coming Monday, featuring Bizdelic, CU Athletic Director Mike Bone, 2 CU student athletes, and performances by the CU band and cheerleaders.
Over 4 years of play, soccer standout Nikki Marshall proved herself on the field time and time again and played herself into the record books. However, Marshall is now facing a new challenge as she begins her career as a professional. As selected 7th overall in this year's women's professional soccer draft by the Washington Freedom, Nikki says the pressure and expectations associated with being selected so high can be nerve-wracking. Marshall says her teammates, who include U.S. soccer star Abby Wambach, have assured her that she needs to relax and be confident to succeed. CU coach Bill Hempen is also confident in Nikki's ability to perform at the highest level. And she says having an alum with such a high profile bodes well for Colorado recruiting. Marshall will kick off her career as a pro this Saturday against the Boston Breakers.
All right, think you've got that trivia question figured out? Just to remind you, the question was, how fast can Ralphie run? All right, and we think you got that answer? Ralphie, she can run up to 25 miles per hour. Wow, maybe she should try out for the track team.
It's pretty fast. That's pretty fast. Well, that's a good trivia question. Let's check out some weather now and send it over to Audie at the weather desk.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. I'm Audie Streetman with your Boulder forecast. If we look at the national weather map right now, you'll see that on the eastern seaboard we have an occluded front developing. This is going to bring a lot of precipitation to the area, a lot of really interesting weather. Another thing going on in the nation right now is over Colorado we have this high front coming down from the north. which is going to bring a lot of clouds, a lot of no precipitation though, just a lot of clouds, some sunshine, especially when you mix it with the low front on the eastern side of the country. So when all that comes together, we're going to see more clouds, a little bit of sunshine for the weekend, but overall a really nice mix. If we look at our Boulder forecast, Friday and Saturday, the highs will be in the about 61 degrees with lows in the mid-30s. Sunday and Monday will reach 70s for the high and then lows in the mid-40s as well. Great weekend, a couple of clouds, but no rain, no snow, so it'll be really mild and really a nice weekend, especially for spring football. The kickoff is at Folsom Field on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. The temperature midday should be about 59 degrees and partially cloudy, so it'll be a great day for football. If you're not a football fan, though, this weekend's also a great chance to go skiing. Aspen reported a 68-inch base for snow last Friday, and then Vail's also at 67 inches for snow. Breckenridge reached all the way up into 76 inches, which is a great amount of snow for April. So it's a great weekend to go out skiing, snowboarding. No snow, no rain. It'll be a great time. Also, another thing going on this weekend, the Rockies have their home opener where they're playing the San Diego Padres at Coors Field. The game's at 2:10 p.m. It'll be really sunny, real nice time, 61 degrees midday. Great weekend, great forecast, a lot of great mild weather for your weekend. Like I said, great conditions for a Rockies game.
Yeah, and you know what, I think you were very right with the conditions, and it sounds like, I believe the Rockies won 7-0 is what we hear back in the control room, so that's good stuff, opening day there.
Yeah, and do you know what that means? That means tacos.
Absolutely.
Tacos at Taco Bell, so be sure to make your way on Saturday. This has been this week's edition of Sports Mag.
Have a good weekend.